Hey, Mike,
Hey, Dom, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very good, very good.
Excellent, excellent. We're coming up on the holiday season this time of year. You got any plans for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I probably do. Well, I'm doing the turkey, of course, but yep, I do. Just a
We're we're
quiet one because I got to work the
we're,
next day. But
we're
yep.
having a very non-traditional Thanksgiving. We're having Pizzoli.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep,
looking forward to it.
yeah. No, with me it's just traditional turkey and stuffing. But
Oh,
yeah.
always a winner. There's a reason why that's tradition.
Oh yeah, yep, yep,
But speaking of tradition, I thought for this week,
yep.
our movie talk should be a Thanksgiving themed movie discussion. And for me, that usually means the hit Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a go-to movie for me. And look at those two dudes. The John Candy and Steve Martin. Who doesn't
Oh, yeah.
who doesn't love this movie? If you don't love
I
this
don't think
movie,
I've seen them in anything else. Like they've never teamed up in another movie.
no, that was their one time together. And what a beautiful matchup too.
I know.
Uh,
It's ideal. It's you know what's funny? When I watched the film, what really struck me is watching Steve Martin as a straight man.
oh yeah, yeah,
Like I'm not talking about sexual orientation. I'm talking about the
yeah,
serious rigid dude
yeah.
that played off of Candy's wackiness.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean, not that he wasn't funny in the movie, but you're right. He was the probably more than almost any other movie that he's been in.
I know.
He was doing the straight man for that one. So yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a big part of what made it funny too, because he was a great straight man. I mean, he was his reactions to Candy and the
Mm.
frustrations that he's always feeling is, it's hysterical. So yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But no,
So for anyone listening that has not seen the movie, doesn't know what the heck we're talking about, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was a 1987 Thanksgiving themed film directed by John Hughes and starring comedic greats Steve Martin and John Candy.
yeah,
Um, it's this adorable tale of basically Steve Martin's character really trying to go home for Thanksgiving and just running into difficulty after
the
difficulty with
frustrations.
frustrations with multiple forms of transportation.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, and planes, trains, and automobiles, which they are all feature into the the movie, and a car, because there's also a car ride, and a bus. So they pretty much have every form of transportation except maybe a
Mm-hmm.
rickshaw.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh, and speaking of that, when we start talking about the different things they're on, I always have to point out there will be spoilers.
oh, they're absolutely.
You,
We're kind of that's what we do in this. So anybody for future watching and everything, um, we absolutely are dissecting the movie from our own memories of it and some things that we pulled up maybe online or whatever. But it's us giving spoilers. That's really what it's about. So if you haven't seen the movie, maybe watch the movie and then what? Please watch
I
our
mean,
channel.
granted, it's a it's a feel good comedy. It's it's Thanksgiving themed. It's 37 years old.
Yeah,
So nothing we say is probably going to shock you. Haven't seen the movie,
right,
but I just always want to say that because I know people that are very, very triggered by
right.
spoilers.
Yeah, but if you celebrate Thanksgiving, um, I'm appalled if you haven't seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, because if you haven't, you need to stop watching what we're doing right now. Even though I hate to say that, but stop watching and watch the movie, and then come back and watch our our
And
video.
I'm going to say right away, I promise to give a spoiler because I can't let that ending go.
Yeah. Oh
I'm
yeah.
not going to talk about it now, but wow, that movie, the ending almost changes the nature of the movie. It definitely changes your feeling.
Yeah. 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 It's that, and that's the other thing about this movie that because the movie, it's a John Hughes movie, and that's all you really have to say in the sense of what the ride that he takes you on in a John Hughes movie. And I mean, sometimes I think of John Hughes a little bit like the way that they used to criticize Capra back in the day, because Capra, when he did like It's a Wonderful Life, the critics tore It's a Wonderful Life apart.
Oh
When it
yeah.
came out, and they said that they said he was sappy and corny, and I mean they just ripped it apart. And the thing about that movie is it's look at how that movie's endured, and this is I consider this movie on the exact same level. It's a movie that is I think is going to endure, as long as people are watching film and celebrating Thanksgiving. It's a movie about I mean, as crazy as the comedy is and absurd as the characters are sometimes, it's really endearing, and that's what John Hughes movies do. But
Now that being said,
yeah,
on the rewatch, the one thing I did realize is that movie is so dated. Like, like 1987, the things you saw there, it was almost like a century ago. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
there's no TSA. Getting on a
yeah,
plane, you didn't even need to
yeah,
show your ID.
oh yeah,
And so that was crazy.
yes,
No one had a
absolutely,
cell phone.
yeah, yeah,
Steve Martin was using payphones left and right, and
yeah.
good luck finding a payphone these days.
Even the credit card machines in the motels and stuff, they're running through a scanner. There's so many things. The world has changed a lot since that's electronically it's for the better, for better or worse. Some things are better, some things are worse. But yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I have to say, I love my cell phone. I love, you can't see it because of the background, but I love my cell phone. But there's times where I wish I could turn this all off. I mean, we wouldn't be here if everybody turned it off. But yeah, sometimes technology is just awful. But look at the convenience of being able to, rather than relying on that damn cab, they could have called an Uber.
And that's the thing. Like it's a movie that I don't know if it could be made in current day.
Yeah,
And that being said, they are considering a reboot.
yeah.
They were considering a reboot with Will Smith and Kevin Hart.
Okay, they're funny.
They're funny and they
Yeah,
make a great buddy movie.
yeah,
But I'm like, what could possibly happen that would cause similar problems?
yeah,
Like, a computer outage, phone dies,
yeah.
maybe.
Something though, I almost wish they wouldn't do it, because it's yeah, I get it. You could probably come up with a lot of different ideas, but it's like this is such a classic.
It is.
It's like someone remaking, and there have been remakes of It's a Wonderful Life, but again with the holiday thing with It's a Wonderful Life, but when you do have a classic, yeah, so you maybe can capture a crowd that has never seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles will watch the new one and say, "Oh, this is great, I love this," and then maybe watch the other one and say, "Oh, I like the new one better," because that's what they saw first and that's what they like. But to me, if you've seen this and this has gotten into your heart like it's gotten into mine, um, anything, I'm just going to compare any remake with this and think it's not as good. So I can't say that without having seen it, but I just can't imagine it's gonna be on the same.
And
Maybe it will.
personally, I hate reboots in general.
I do. I wish to hell, because this is one of the things that bugs me with Hollywood. It's like, why do you have to keep remaking shit?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why
Mm-hmm.
why not come up with something new? Make a new holiday classic that's about Thanksgiving, and don't try to remake this one. This has been done, and it was done. If it was done badly, and people said, I could see it almost more with an action movie where someone says, man, that, that back then they made this movie and it was, they couldn't do, like, say, like a, movie was made with planes, like, Tom Cruise and Top Gun. It's like they do the second one, but the first one was still better. I mean, the second one's really good with some of the flying sequences and stuff, but the original had the original characters, and they were more paying tribute. Yeah.
Full disclosure, I've never seen either film, and I never intend to.
Yeah, that's something that you probably won't miss out if you never see either one.
People have described it to me. I'm like, how would I find that in any way interesting?
Yeah.
But that's just me. I know people love it.
I watched the first one when it came out. I enjoyed it. It's definitely a movie that I enjoyed. But I think that movie's aged better with me than, because when I first saw it, I thought, yeah, Tom Cruise was, he was like the hotshot actor, and the guy, when he was first coming out, I wasn't that fond of him as an actor in a lot of his movies. I think some of the movies that he's made since then have been better, and so probably he's aged a little bit better with me as a, seeing his films. And then I did enjoy the fact that they did a little bit of tribute with Val Kilmer. He's sick now, or actually Val, yeah. So, and his kid did like the voice and stuff like that. There's a lot of touching things that happened with the remakes. So if you're nostalgic at all about the first one, it's kind of nice to see the second one. But
okay.
Yeah,
I got to put a stop to the tangent and get us back on track.
Yeah, get us back on planes, trains, and automobiles. Yes.
So I don't know if you heard, but last year, for the 35th anniversary of the film, they came out with a brand new 4K remastered disc.
Okay. Yep, I did hear about the disc. I did hear about the disc, and I actually own on Vudu. I own the 4K because I've been buying. I've got my collection. You've seen my collection, thousands of Blu-rays, but I have been really moving towards Vudu only because the older I get, and space being a thing, and I've been like buying a lot of stuff, and I bought Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in 4K, and it looks beautiful.
Make sure Vudu is giving us money before we mention them too much.
I know, we got to stop, man.
Vudu, you want to send us any dollars?
Yeah, exactly. If you want to sponsor us, yeah, I'm your guy.
but that new version, comes with over an hour of cut footage that wasn't in the original.
Oh wow! See, there you go. That's one of the. First of all, you will never, and this is, I guess you could call this a knock at streaming, but this is something that if people don't understand this from a technological standpoint, you will never get the picture on streaming that you will get on a disc. A good 4K disc is way better picture-wise and audio-wise. It's as good as streaming can be, and they've really gotten it down where it's good. If you're really a movie fan and audio is your thing too, and you got a great surround sound system, you need it on disc in order to really appreciate the. That's one of the problems. People go, oh yeah, which I just said it myself. I've been replacing discs with streaming. It ain't the same. But getting back to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles,
I have to keep on this cut footage.
Yes,
because there are certain scenes that don't make any sense.
Oh yes,
without these.
Yes.
So here's first spoiler: they're in the hotel room, and that guy steals their money.
Right.
Which seemed really odd. Like this guy's good enough to get into an occupied hotel room,
right?
Rummage around their wallet, steal their money, and get out absolutely unnoticed.
And if you look at him, he's not that. He doesn't look like he's that slick of a thief.
He doesn't appear that slick. And I mean, that didn't look like an expensive hotel. If you're a thief, are you really going to risk that? and so it made no sense to me.
Yeah.
Until I saw the cut footage
Yeah.
before that scene.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
I have, and now that you brought it up, keep going. You finish.
Yeah,
finish
so
the
so it
story,
turns out this guy was a pizza delivery guy.
Yeah, I do know where you're going, but you tell it because it's
that brought a pizza and a six pack to their room.
right.
John Candy, his character Dell, not only insults him,
Right.
but accuses him of being weak and stuff, but also stiffs him on a tip.
Yes.
So, well, this still doesn't explain.
It's like $1 tip or something.
It still doesn't explain how this guy got to be so good of a thief.
Right.
But it does give a little more explanation as to why he targeted them.
Yes. And there actually, to go along with that, one of the things that I was actually researching about, they said that that movie, when they finished the first cut of the movie, and this is something that actually I heard, there is somewhere, and it's not in the right order, it's not edited down and everything, somewhere in the, what is it, was it Paramount that made it? They're in the vaults.
Yeah, Paramount.
In the vaults there is there's a 3-hour version of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. There is also they did the editing, and I can't think of the name of the editor. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names sometimes. But the editor, the original guy that did the editing, he said they made a 2-hour version. And that's what they tested with audiences. And when you see the trailer, you can see some of that missing footage in the trailer. And he says that was the reason why, is because they used the 2-hour version to create the trailer. And then the movie was cut down, and it's like, what, 90 minutes, something like that?
92-minute runtime. For those who are interested, I've got the Wikipedia page up. Paul Hirsch was the editor.
Okay. Yep. That's another thing is, I have seen a few, because when I was doing some of the researching myself, I saw a few of the outtakes, and some of the outtakes, there's a good reason. I've always said this, but there's a very good reason why movies get cut down and certain scenes get deleted. A prime example, if you ever watch the outtakes from American History X, that movie isn't a bad movie. There's some it's a little flawed, but it's not a bad movie. But the scenes that they cut out of it, thank God they cut the scenes out, because they're awful. Now, I saw some scenes from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, including the one you're talking about because Steve Martin's in the shower trying to, and John Candy comes into the bathroom, and he's like, really, dude? Like, can you get out of the bathroom? Like, but yeah, and then he's messing with the pizza guy. He's just, it's John Candy. It's crazy John Candy.
It was John Candy to the max. Like, he is the most abrasive, annoying, and yet sorry character you could possibly imagine.
Well, he's in some ways, I kind of I can relate to John Candy a little bit. I've got that. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people that look at me and think, wow, this guy's annoying. But I kind of like feel a little bit like I can relate to his character, but because I'm over the top sometimes. But yeah, the stuff he does, and yet you're really feeling for the guy at different times. Every time he does something, and you can see why Steve Martin's going, stop, like, leave me alone, get away from me, get out of my, John Candy would do something, the character Dell would do something really sweet, and then Steve Martin's like, yeah. But the thing, now talking about annoying things, the scene in the bed was a lot funnier, or not funnier, but a lot more extended in the long versions, he's making a lot more noises in the bed. He's doing, and then the whole thing, when he says to him about the beer,
Yeah.
that was the other thing. You see that with that cut, because he threw the beer on the bed, and it was, he had put the vibrate, which I don't. A lot of people probably don't ever. Do you remember vibrating beds?
I do. And again,
Yeah.
it's another reason that movie is so dated. There's so many things about that
Yes.
I haven't seen in decades.
Oh yeah. I mean, are there motels still that exist with vibrating beds in them?
I mean, I'm sure there are somewhere, but
I remember when back, because this was years ago when I was on the road doing delivery. But when I was doing that, I remember going into we went to hey, you helped me out on deliveries. We had old mom and pop motels, and they would have those that little machine with take a quarter and the bed would vibrate. And I always thought it was the silliest thing. I don't know. I don't see how, like, even for like a couple or something like that are hooking up. I never really saw the appeal of it. It was like, wow.
No,
but
I think there's a reason it's not a thing anymore.
yeah, really, seriously. But yeah, as soon as he gets into the bed, he puts a quarter in there, and he's got it. And of course, it's going on and on. I don't know how many quarters he put in, but yeah. So apparently, because he started the bed vibrating, and they threw the beer on the bed, the beers blew up. But that is not explained. It's just like, he just says it.
Right. That cut scene explains so much.
Yeah.
Of that hotel room experience.
Oh yeah. Well, and something. What I found, really, talking about the cut scenes. What I found very funny was there's the extended cab scene. Have you seen any of the extended cab?
I have not.
People should watch what you were talking about with the disc, because there are some very funny scenes that are not in the movie that were cut. One is that the cab scene, that cab driver is a nutcase. And there's one point where he gets mad at Steve Martin over something, and he's like, I could pull over the side of the road and kill you. and then John Candy's egging him on, because John Candy's like acting like he's like, no, we all need to calm down here. And he goes, I know you could kill him. You could pull over the side of the road and take out a tire iron and be, and he's saying all this stuff. And Steve Martin's looking over at him like, shut up. But that scene is funny.
Now, one of the classic scenes that was striking to me was watching Steve Martin throw that tirade of F-bombs.
Oh, that's the best. That is absolutely the best. And that's another thing, is that woman, Edie McClurg.
Yeah.
She is frigging hilarious.
Oh, she's great.
She's great in every movie she's in. And she's been in a lot. She's got a lot of cameos. But yeah, I don't know if you want to talk more about the F-bomb thing, but
the only thing I want to say is, in my research, I found out that string of F-bombs got the movie rated R, where it was originally PG-13. That scene tipped it over to rated R.
And wasn't that his only? Maybe I'm wrong on this, but wasn't that his only R-rated one, or am I wrong?
Oh, I wouldn't know. Like he's put out so many movies. He's been around for a long time.
Oh yeah,
I would have to review them all.
Well, now here's something that, talking about John Hughes and the stuff that he would do with, like prompting actors. There's two things that I can think of, two different scenes that I can think of that he did it in this movie. One is with her. There's two things that he did with her. She was filming Ferris Bueller's Day Off, something like that. I'm pretty sure that was the set. And John Hughes approached her with a page of the script that for this movie, and she had no idea what he wanted out of her. And he handed her the page of script, and he said, "Read it." And so she starts to look at it, and he goes, "No, read it. I want to hear you do the script." And he had her, and she had no context. I mean, it was just so. She was like, "Okay," and she read the part. And so she said, John Hughes didn't say a damn thing more. took the page of script and left and said, okay, thank you, and left. And she said she didn't hear from him again for months. And he calls her up and he goes, you want the part? And yeah, he just offered her the part. So here's the other little bit of trivia on this one. But when it came time to do the scene, he liked real natural reactions out of the actors.
Mhm.
So she didn't actually do a lot of the script for the part where when Steve Martin comes up to her and she's talking on the phone, that was all her. She improvised that entire thing.
Nice.
He said, just act like you're talking to somebody on the phone. And so she said, I did exactly what John Hughes likes. I took a page out of my real life. And she said, I improvised talking to my sister on the phone for Thanksgiving. And so that's exactly what she was talking about was pretty much like her life, her getting together with her sister.
She and that scene are living proof that there are no small roles.
No.
I mean, she's in it for that amount of time, and we're still talking about it years later.
Yes, and it's one of the funnier scenes in the movie. I mean, it gave her what she did with her first of all, her voice just cracks me up. As soon as she opens her mouth, I start laughing. But she fed him just what he needed to go, I just want the fucking car and the and so she fed him everything so he could pull that scene off. And I'm going to go into another scene, and that is talking about John Hughes and trying to get something out of his actors, and that is I'm kind of blocking poor Owen's head, but and there's two things about Owen. One is he came up with that character on his own. They gave him Owen, but they really gave him very little about what they wanted him to do. I can't keep leaning to the side. Sorry, Owen. But
apologies to Owen.
Yeah. But anyway, so Owen, that he did all the snorts, all that stuff that he was doing, the spitting tobacco and everything, that was all him. And the actress, and I apologize to the actress because she's great in it too. Mm-hmm. But the actress that played his wife, she said he was so damn funny, and the stuff that he was coming out with and improvising, she had a real hard time keeping a straight face, and she was supposed to be very, very stoic. And she said she'd look at him and she'd start laughing, and Steve Martin would laugh, and the whole set would be cracking up. But here's what was really funny, and this is a bit of trivia. Hughes comes up to him and he says, listen, and he told him, I want you to spit on your hand. Before you shake Steve Martin's hand. And if you notice, he's got his glove on, he shakes John Candy's hand. When it comes time he spits right after he shakes his hand, pulls the glove off, and he goes, and he wipes, and it's just pure tobacco spit or whatever he spit. And then he puts his hand out and shakes Steve Martin's hand. You can see Steve Martin's face. He's like, that was a genuine reaction, because he had no idea the guy was going to do it. And they said he was so disgusted as soon as they said cut, he was like that's disgusting, and he ran off the set to wash his hand, and the whole crew cracked up laughing. So that's my other little bit of trivia about Owen.
Okay, let me fire back a bit of trivia.
Yes, yeah.
And this is like a really minor thing.
Yeah.
But if you'll notice, at times John Candy's character Dell is reading a book.
Oh, yes.
The Mounted Canadian.
Yes.
And we see that book in another movie.
Okay. I'm trying to think. I can't.
In Deadpool 2. Deadpool is seen reading that book.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. Cool.
It was just a prop. It wasn't an actual book. Now it is an actual book. And it's basically like trivia of planes, trains, and automobiles.
Well, yeah, and you know something, those kind of covers, I remember seeing those used to be in, like, you'd go into like a truck stop or something, because I being on the road doing delivery, you'd stop into a not a TNA because this or TA truck stop, but one of those type of big truck stops. And that, they're selling for truckers. They're selling those, they're kind of like sleaze books, and you'd see them all over the place. Back in the 80s, and
Oh yeah, I can remember seeing them in drugstores. It'd be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the comic books.
Sure. But yeah, so like I said, that type of cover, it was such like when I saw the cover, it was a familiar cover to me. It was, even though like I don't think I've ever, like you said, it probably wasn't a real actual book, but
Mhm.
that they did the cover was perfect because
Oh yeah, you took a look at the
and-
cover and you knew instantly what kind of book that was.
and of course John Candy is Canadian. so
Mhm.
so
As is Ryan Reynolds.
yeah, yep, okay, yep. Well, and that, talking about like different people in the movie, Kevin Bacon at the start when they do the race for
Yep.
the cab, which
Yep.
is hysterical. That's a great scene. John Hughes put him in the movie, and what I can't remember what they had just was it She's Having a Baby, something like that.
Yes.
Um,
I don't know. I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
that had not been released, but there's a scene when they're in a motel, and or no, it's I almost think it's when he calls his wife, and it's playing in the background on a TV.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
You're right.
and that scene that is being played in the background is from that movie, and it hadn't even been released.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
So,
And if we're talking about, actors of note that were also in the movie,
yeah.
I love Michael McKean.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yeah. Michael McKean and all the like A Mighty Wind and
I can remember when I first saw him on Laverne and Shirley. I thought this
yeah,
guy was
yeah.
like a nothing that was going to be
He,
forgotten.
you know,
And wow.
yeah. For a sleeper, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but for a sleeper actor, because not that he's not even a sleeper actor, he's been in so many movies.
Mhm.
He is just I don't think he gets enough credit, but keep going what you were saying.
No, I mean, I was just about kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's had a bigger role in Spinal Tap.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you watch any of the ones. There's that whole series, like there's Best in Show.
Yep.
Yeah, that's such a good movie. Every movie that he's been in, that he played any kind of a sizable part, that guy's made an impact, and he's funny as hell.
Oh,
but yeah,
and actually, I've seen him be scary
oh yeah,
as well
yeah,
in some roles.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. He can be he can have the little psycho thing down too. So no, but he's an extremely talented actor, and I space sometimes, and the whole is it Michael McKean that actually was directing those? The all those that the whole
Maybe.
thing was best in show, A Mighty Wind. There's two or three others that they all have the same actors and actresses. Catherine O'Hara's in them. I apologize to them. I don't have all the different actors and actresses. If people haven't seen those movies, they need to. They're terrific movies, and again, they all star him. So
You see, this is what happens when we don't stick to the movie.
I know.
Talking about, because like I rewatched Plane, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yep.
I read the Wikipedia page. I searched around for different things that other actors and directors have done related to it. So I could literally talk about this movie for longer than we're going to, hopefully.
Oh, absolutely.
But you throw in, you start pulling out other films that I haven't seen in like years.
Oh,
and we're all like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, believe me. But that's part of what we're doing here with dissecting this too, is
True.
We're gonna stray. People should realize we are gonna stray because we're movie buffs and movie nuts, movie geeks, movie kooks. And so, but I think it's almost a good thing sometimes when you stray a little bit, because it does give you, Owen, it does give you like backgrounds on other movies that we'll probably be talking about at some point. I mean, I wouldn't mind talking about some of Michael McKean's movies.
Yeah, it's true.
Because Spinal Tap is a great one to dissect. But anyway, getting back to this, you know, so many scenes. The bus ride scene is hysterical. The whole thing with Steve Martin. We're not doing this in order either, but we're pulling the scenes out. But that's fine too. But the bus ride scene, when there's the whole scene where, and it's John Candy getting in trouble again. They're sitting there, and Steve Martin's really had it with him, and just wants to be away from him. And they're sitting there, and he's doing everything he can not to talk to John Candy and everything. And John Candy's still doing this annoying, I'm your buddy. And there's that couple that's next to them, and there's this white trash couple, and they're making out in the bus. And John Candy's like, hey, look, look over there. And so you see Steve Martin, and he goes, and he gives us like really disgusted look. And John Candy's just like, get a load of that, huh? And so, and then you see Steve Martin's like just sitting there, and he starts looking harder. And next thing you know, like she's leaning back, and she looks up at him and catches his eye. And the guy looks up and he goes, why don't you take a picture? And John Candy's going, wow, you're busted. It's like I wasn't even looking at her, you know. But
guess who got cut from that scene?
Who's that?
7 of 9.
Oh, really?
Jerry Ryan.
Oh, I heard she was potentially in it. What was that? I didn't know how she. What was that about?
Yeah, from what I heard, Jerry Ryan was in that scene. She would have been what, like 24, I think, at the time.
Maybe younger.
She was in her 20s.
Yeah,
I think she was at least 21.
Okay,
but because she was born in the same year I was, so maybe she was younger. Because I think I was 19
or 20. Yeah.
But anyway, evidently she couldn't stop laughing at John Candy and Steve Martin's antics.
Wow.
And so they just cut her out.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm sure there's probably a lot more cutscenes from that bus ride. But and then of course everybody knows the whole thing with they're singing the songs, and he goes, do you have a song? And he goes, 3 coins and a fountain. And everybody's just sitting there looking at him like, what? And then he starts singing the Flintstones song. And another little piece of trivia, the Flintstones were John Candy's favorite cartoon.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And he pulled that song out. So yeah, that's actually a little bit of trivia right there. But yes, he loved that.
I don't know how long viewers like their videos,
right?
But I feel that we're going to wrap it up in a little while here.
Yeah,
I have to talk about that ending.
Oh,
because this movie is like, it's a feel-good buddy comedy. It's like an on-the-road movie with Bing Crosby and Bob Hope.
Yeah,
and it's fun. It's heartwarming.
It's very heartwarming.
Gut punch at the end.
That movie tears me up every time at the end. Yeah,
I'm like, what?
Yeah, when he comes back to the train station, and he's like, because he's been getting all these flashbacks of I haven't been home in years, and then he tells him, yeah, my wife died, and so it's so gut wrenching, and then he takes him home. But yeah, and the other thing, especially if we're wrapping this up, the song Every Time You Go Away, that song was not the original intended song, and thank God it is, because it's great for the movie. You can say what you like about the song itself, if you like it or hate it, but for that movie it's perfect, and it's beautiful, it's sweet, it really works for the movie.
The soundtrack is really well regarded, but evidently they had a really hard time putting it together, because they would contact some people and they didn't like the deal they were being given, and so they got Elton John was going to write.
That's what happened with the theme. Was Elton John was going to do it, and John Hughes was, all right, maybe it was Paramount that was saying, no, you can't have the rights to the song.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was Paramount.
he was basically like, fuck you, and walked away. And they had to use that song. But thank God they did, you know.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
no, it's a great soundtrack. It's a great movie. Um, Anybody that hasn't seen this movie, my God, I would say you need to make this for Thanksgiving this year. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, I would say you need to watch this movie.
Although, if
Yep.
you have seen that movie, or you want a double feature,
Yeah.
John Hughes's Uncle Buck
Oh my God, I love Uncle
would,
Buck. Yeah.
would be a great pairing to this. Also
Yes.
starring John Candy.
Yeah. Well, you know, since I watched, because I'm my guests when they come over, they'll probably be watching this movie. And when they do, I'll probably wind this one up, and that's a great idea, Dom, because I haven't seen Uncle Buck in a while, and two John Hughes movies. That would be a good pairing.
When I was thinking about this, for those of you who want a little behind the scenes, like me and Mike, we discussed like, well, what movie should we watch or talk about next time? And you know, we're both movie lovers. We have a lot of suggestions.
Yeah.
But when I was reminded that Thanksgiving is coming up, I'm like, oh, we gotta do a Thanksgiving themed movie. And I was actually having trouble deciding between Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and Uncle Buck.
Yeah. Well, here's another little bit of trivia as we close this out. Here's another little bit of trivia about the two movies that you brought up, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and Uncle Buck. The closing scene of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a shot of John Candy's face with kind of a wistful smile on his face. It's a very similar shot is shown in Uncle Buck, and that's how Uncle Buck ends. John Hughes working his movie magic. That's and I since I heard that, I haven't seen Uncle Buck, so I hope to hell I'm right there. But that's what I was just reading, is that's the same closing shot that they used as a shot of John Candy giving a wistful smile and closing out the movie. So yeah, the brilliant John Hughes and
the brilliant John Candy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we lost John Candy way too early. That man, you know, that man was talented. So it's a shame,
but much like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, we're going to wrap this up on that sad note.
yeah. Make everybody feel sad for Thanksgiving, but please, if you haven't seen the movie, you owe it to yourself to see. Hopefully, you watched it before you watched the entirety of what we just did. And if we spoiled a lot of stuff for you, you'll still laugh anyway, because I laugh. I've seen the movie.
This is definitely a movie you could watch over and over again.
Yeah. How many times do you think you've seen that movie, Dom? This movie?
Well, I'm a bad example because I hate rewatching any movies. So if I've seen a movie more than once, that tells you I really like that movie. And I've seen this movie probably 3 or 4 times.
Right. See, that's actually, it's crazy because I've seen it a lot more than that. But I do not like. There's plenty of people that I know that if they like a movie, they watch it relentlessly. And I actually have a little bit of a problem. That as much as I do rewatch movies, I have a little bit of a problem with people that rewatch movies. And you know, hey, we're all entitled to do what we want to do, but if they rewatch something to the point where they get sick of it, I feel like, why'd you do that? Why'd you make the movie? Because I've heard people say that about It's a Wonderful Life. Bringing that up again, they'll say, "Oh, that movie's on, 20 times over the Christmas holidays," and I've seen it so many. And it's like, well, why did you watch it 20 times? Nobody made you watch it 20 times. Change the channel, put something else on.
Okay, we are digressing again. I think we need to save Christmas talk for our Christmas video.
Well, and actually, to wrap this up, we will be doing more holiday themed movies as the holidays approach. I think the concentration a lot of times is going to be on crazy B movies and action. Oh, well, we're going to do everything.
We'll
But
do everything, and please suggest some, because
yes,
we would love to be introduced to new movies.
Yep, and would also like to hear more comments. Hopefully good comments, but I mean, even if you tell us that we're assholes or whatever, I mean, whatever. We like comments, so we can handle it. I've got thick skin, and so does Dom. So
okay, Mike. On that note,
well, let me just say one more thing before we go. This is important. Dom hates this part. Hit the like button, please. And if you would, please subscribe, because
like and subscribe.
Yeah, we need it. So Dom, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupt you, but you go ahead and wrap us up.
Nope, that was it. I'd like to say this is the end of another one of our, we're just two dudes chatting about movies.
Absolutely.
And thanks for watching.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it, and see you again next time, guys. And happy holidays. Dom, it was great talking with you, as always.
We'll be talking again.
Yep. See you next week, buddy.
Indeed. See you next week.
Take care.